Everyone here? Okay, we're ready to go. So yesterday we started our program. We had Gundicha Marjan here in the ashram. And today is Sri Jagannath Rathaytra going on in Puri. Of course, Puri's ahead of us, so Rathayatra Day, first day is now, it's now 10 after 9 in the evening, so probably the cars have reached Gundicha. So, but we're still reading from the cleansing of the Gundicha temple. And then, after that, the next chapter will be the Lord's dancing at Rathayatra. So, cleansing of the Gundicha temple is a very nice description of cleaning the temple and cleaning one's heart, and it's nice commentaries, philosophical commentaries by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So, now, yesterday we heard how. Should I start here?
Oh, I started just at the introduction.
So yesterday we heard the underlying theme of Maharaj Prataparudra. He's very eager to meet with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu is showing the part of a Virakta sannyasi, a very renowned sannyasi. And Mahaprabhu doesn't want to meet with the king because he says a king is just a Vishayi, meaning a rich enjoyer. And Mahaprabhu says, but all the devotees say, oh, but this king, Maharaj Prataparudra, he's a great devotee and all that. Then Mahaprabhu says, yes, but just because he has the name king, it's all ruined. Just like a pitcher full of milk with somebody drops some few drops of liquor in it and it ruins the milk. So Mahaprabhu says that's ruined. Then they could say, but he's going to give up his kingdom and he's going to become a yogi and he's going to put an ivory earring in his ear and just go begging door from door if he doesn't get your darshan. Then Mahaprabhu says, all right, some will have another arrangement. First, Nityananda Prabhu says, well, if you give some of your clothing, your sannyas dhoti to him, he'll be satisfied. That will be good. So they send an old dhoti of Mahaprabhu to Maharaj Prataparudra, and he gets that, and he's completely very satisfied by that. And then the other devotees are saying, but we're afraid he'll just, he's such a good person, he'll give up the kingdom. Please show him some favor. Then Mahaprabhu says, all right, they say that the son is like meeting with the son will be like meeting with the father. So they have the son of Maharaj Prataparudra comes to meet with Mahaprabhu. And the son is young and looks like Krishna. He's dark colored. And Mahaprabhu is very ecstatic seeing the son. And he embraces the son of Maharaj Prataparudra. And when he embraces him, then the son becomes overwhelmed with Krishna prema and ecstasy, and he's dancing and chanting. And then from then on, the son becomes a very, constant and advanced devotee of Mahaprabhu. So that's the underlying theme at the beginning of this chapter. Now we're at the part where the actual cleansing of the Gundicha temple begins. So we'll start here on text number 72. Pratame Kashi Mishre Prabhu Bolaila Padichapatra Sarvabhome Bolaya Anila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first of all called for Kashi Mishra, then for the superintendent of the temple of Jagannath, then for Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Tinjan Pashe Prabhu Hashya Kohila Gundicha Mandir Marjan Seva Magi Nila. When these three people came before the Lord, he begged them for permission to wash the temple known as Gundicha. So today is Rathayatra. In Rathayatra, Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra come out of the temple, and then they get on these very huge cars, that like chariot cars, but it's all made out of wood and so enormous cars. That's where the name, what's the name that came?
Jagannath.
Huh?
The Jagannath name comes from that.
The name Jaga what? What is the name in English? The
Juggernaut.
juggernaut. A juggernaut. Juggernaut means an unstoppable force, and it came from the Jagannath cars. Juggernaut. And that was coined by the English. So the deities come on their cars, and everybody, from all nations, literally millions of people come to Jagannath Puri for the Jagannath Rathaytra. And right now, all the devotees of our mat, the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat mat, they're in Jagannath Puri now. And our devotee Jai Ram Prabhu, he went with his whole family to India, and they're in Jagannath Puri now with Acharya Maharaj and the devotees participating in the Rathayatra. So when the deities come out of the temple, they get in these three cars, one for Jagannath, one for Baladev, and one for Subhadra. And they go from the Jagannath Puri temple, which is called Nilachala, and they go to the Gundicha temple, which is called Sundarachala. And it's like the mood is, a Mahaprabhu was taking the Lord, taking Krishna back to Vrindavan, the mood of Srimati Radharani. So, Tinjan, Pashe Prabhu, Hashya Kohila, Gundicha Mandir, Marjan, Seva Magi Nila. When the three people came before the Lord, he begged them for permission to wash the temple known as Gundicha. So the Lord's going to travel from the Jagannath Puri temple to Gundicha. So Mahaprabhu, his pastime is each year, before that happens, day before it happens, they all go and very thoroughly clean the temple of Gundicha before Jagannath arrives there. So, Padicha Kohe Amisab, Sebak Tomar, Jay Tomaricha Se, Kartavyamar. Upon hearing the Lord's request for permission to wash the Gundicha temple, the Padicha, the superintendent of the temple, said, "My dear sir, we are all your servants. Whatever you desire is our duty to perform." So he told Mahaprabhu, "My Lord, whatever you wish, that's our duty." Bisheshe Rajar Agya Hayacha Amare Prabhur Agya Je Se Shigra Koribare. The king gave a special order for me to do without delay whatever your lordship orders. Tomara Jogya Seva Nahi Mandir Marjan Ek Lila Kora Je Tomaraman. My dear Lord, washing the temple is not service befitting you. Nevertheless, if you wish to do so, it is to be accepted as your lila, or as your pastimes. So the superintendent of the Jagannath Puri temple will make all the arrangements for Mahaprabhu to personally lead his devotees in cleansing the Gundicha temple. But he says, this is not something befitting you. It's very laborious and cleansing the temple, but as you wish me to supply you with all the necessities, then I'll do so, and I'll just consider that this is your divine Leela. This is part of your pastimes. Kintu gata samarjani bahuta chahiye agyadeho ajisab ihan anidiye. To wash the temple, you need many water pots and brooms. Therefore, order me. I can immediately bring all these things to you. Nutanek shat gata shata samarjani padichaniya dila prabhur ichajani. As soon as the superintendent understood the desire of the Lord, he immediately delivered 100 new water pots and 100 brooms for sweeping the temple. Aradine prabhate loya nijagan Shri haste sabarange lepila chandan. Now these water pots, they're made out of clay water pots to wash the temple. The next day, early in the morning, the Lord took his personal associates with him and with his own hands smeared sandalwood on them, put sandalwood on their heads. Okay? Sri Haste Dila, sandalwood paste, very cooling. Shri Haste Dila Sabare Ek Marjani Sabgan Loya Prabhu Chalila Apani.
Maharaj ki jai.
Shri Hasti Dila Sabare Ek Marjani Sabgana Loya Prabhu Chalilapani. He then gave each devotee a broom with his own hand, and taking all of them personally with him, the Lord went to Gundicha, to the Gundicha temple. Gundicha Mandira Gela Korite Marjan Pratame Marjani Loya Korila Shodan. In this way, the Lord and his associates went to cleanse the Gundicha temple. At first, they cleansed the temple with the brooms. So the distance of the Rathayatra, what would you say? It's about 4 miles, somewhere around there.
More or less.
Yeah. So from Jagannath Puri down to Gundicha.
Yes.
Less, okay. About 3 miles, and down one of the main roads of Jagannath Puri. Bitara Mandire Upar Sakala Majila Simasana Maji Puna Stapana Korila. The Lord cleansed everything inside the temple very thoroughly, including the ceiling. He then took up the sitting place, the Simasana, cleansed it, and again put it in its original place. Now here, where the deities are situated, here on the altar, they're situated on the Singhasan. That's the Lord's cleansing that. Is that right? So he's cleansing the Singhasan, where the deities will be placed. Chotabora Mandir, Koila, Marjan, Shodan, Pache, Taiche, Shodila, Sri, Jagamohan. Thus, the Lord and his companions cleansed and swept all the temple's buildings, big and small, and finally cleansed the area between the temple and the kirtan hall. So now they're sweeping, okay? Charidike Shata Bhakta Samarjani Kore Apane Shodana Prabhu Shikana Sabare. Indeed, hundreds of devotees were engaged in cleansing all around the temple, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was personally carrying out the operation just to instruct others. Premulase Shodan Loyan Krishna Nam Bhaktagana Krishna Kohe Kore Nijakam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu washed and cleansed the temple in great jubilation, chanting the holy name of Krishna all the time. Similarly, all the devotees were also chanting and at the same time performing their respective duties. Dulidu Sarak Tanu Dekite Shodan Kahan Kahan Ashrujale Kore Samarjan. The entire beautiful body of the Lord was covered with dust and dirt. In this way it became beautiful. It became transcendently beautiful. At times, when cleansing the temple, the Lord shed tears, and in some places he even cleansed with those tears. Boga Mandir Shodana Kori Shodhila Prangan Sakala Avasha Krame Korila Shodan. After this, the place where the deity's food was kept, the Boga Mandir, was cleansed. Then the yard was cleansed, and then all the residential quarters, one after the other. Tinduli Jikura Sab Ekatra Korea Bahirvashe Loya Felai Bahira Korea. After Mahaprabhu collected all the straw, dust, and grains of sand in one place, he gathered it all in his cloth and threw it outside. Emata Bhakta Gana Kori Nijabase Trina Dule Bahire Velaya Parama Harishe. Following the example of Mahaprabhu, all the devotees in great jubilation began to gather straw and dust with their own cloths, the clothes that they're wearing, and throw them outside the temple. Prabhu Kohe Ke Kata Korijacha Samarjan Trina Duli Dekile Janiba Parishram. The Lord then told the devotees, I can tell how much you have been labored and how well you have cleansed the temple simply by seeing all the dust and straw and dirt you have collected outside. Sabar Jantana Bhaja Ekatra Korila Sabha Hoite Prabhur Bhoja Adika Hoila. Even though all the devotees collected dirt in one pile, the dirt collected by Mahaprabhu was much greater. a matab, and there were a lot of the devotees putting all their dirt in one pile, but what Mahaprabhu gathered was much greater. A mata abhyantara korila marjan punasabha kare dila korila bantan. After the inside of the temple was cleansed, the Lord again allotted areas for the devotees to further cleanse. Shukma Duli Trina Kangar Sabkoraha Dura Balomate Shodana Koraha Prabhur Antarpur. The Lord then ordered everyone to cleanse the inside of the temple very perfectly by taking finer dust, straws, and grains of sand and throwing them outside. Sab Vaishnava Loya Jabe Dulibar Shodila Dekima Prabhurmane Santosha Hoila. After Mahaprabhu and all the Vaishnavas cleansed the temple for the second time, Mahaprabhu was very happy to see the cleansing work. Ara Shata Jana Shata Gate Jalabori Pratame Loya Ache Kala Apeka Kori. While the temple was being swept, about 100 men stood ready with filled water pots, and they simply awaited the Lord's order to throw the water from them. Jawan, Bole Jabe, Mahaprabhu, Kohila, Tabe Shata Gata Ani, Prabhu Agedila. As soon as Mahaprabhu called for water, all the men immediately brought the 100 water pots, which were completely filled, and delivered them before the Lord. Pratame Korila Prabhu Mandira Prakalan, Urdhva Aro Bite Griha Madhya Simasan. In this way, Mahaprabhu first cleansed the main temple and then thoroughly washed the ceiling, the walls, the floor, the sitting place, the singasana, and everything else within the room. Kaparabariya Ja Urdhve Chalaila Jay Jali Urdhva Shodi Bite Prakshalila. Let's see. Kaparabariya Ja Urdhve Chalaila Sejali Urdhva Shodi Biti Prakshalila. Mahaprabhu and his devotees began to throw water onto the ceiling. When this water fell, it washed the walls and floor. Sri Hastikorana Sima Sanera Marjan Prabhu Age Jala Ani Deyo Bhaktagan. Then Mahaprabhu began to wash the sitting place of Lord Jagannath with his own hands, and all the devotees began to bring water to the Lord. So normally I would read all this Bengali and then English, but because the chapter is long, I'm just going to switch to reading English, okay? All right. All the devotees within the temple began to wash. Each one had a broom in his hand. In this way, they cleansed the temple of the Lord. Someone brought water to pour onto the hands of Mahaprabhu. Someone poured water on his lotus feet. The water that fell from the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu was drunk by someone who hid himself. Someone else begged for that water. Another person was giving that water in charity. After the room was washed, the water was let out through an outlet, and it then flowed and filled the yard outside. The Lord mopped the rooms with his own clothes, and he polished the throne with them also. In this way, all the rooms were cleansed with 100 water pots. After the rooms had been cleansed, the minds of the devotees were as clean as the rooms. When the temple was cleansed, it was purified, cool, and pleasing, just as if the Lord's own pure mind or his own pure heart had appeared. Some hundreds of men were engaged in bringing water from the lake. There was no place to stand on the banks. Consequently, someone began to draw water from a well. Hundreds of devotees brought water in the pots, and hundreds took the empty pots away to fill them up again. With the exception of Nityananda Prabhu, Advaitacharya, Swarup Damodar, Brahmananda Bharati, and Paramananda Puri, everyone was engaged in filling the water pots and bringing them there. Many of the water pots were broken when people collided with one another, and hundreds of men had to bring new water pots to fill. Some people were filling the pots, and others were washing the rooms, but everyone was engaged in chanting the holy name of Krishna and Hari. One person begged for a water pot by chanting the holy names, Krishna, Krishna, and another delivered a pot while chanting Krishna, Krishna. Whenever anyone had to speak, he did so by uttering the holy name of Krishna. Consequently, the holy name of Krishna became an indication for everyone who wanted something. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was vibrating the holy name of Krishna in ecstatic love, he himself was performing the work of hundreds of men. It appeared as though Mahaprabhu were cleansing and washing with 100 hands. He approached every devotee just to teach him how to work. When he saw someone doing nicely, the Lord praised him. But if he saw that someone was not working to his satisfaction, he immediately chastised that person, not bearing him any grudge. The Lord would say, "You have done well. Please teach this to others so that they may act in the same way." As soon as they heard Mahaprabhu say this, everyone became ashamed. Thus the devotees began to work with great attention. They washed the Jagamohan area, and then the place where food was kept. All other places were also washed. In this way, the meeting place was washed, the entire yard, the raised sitting places, the kitchen, and every other room. So when they say Jagamohan, the Jagamohan area, that's like the Nat Mandir. In the temples, in the temple, like in India principally, they have what's called the mandir, and that's where the deities are, and that's like a separate building with domes on it and everything indoors. And then there's a place between the deities and where the devotees are chanting, and you can go. You can circumambulate the deities, go around their room, and then there's a large room. After a walkway, a small pathway, then there's a large room, and that's called the Nat Mandir, and that's where all the devotees do kirtan, and they're looking at the deities. Now, so they're cleansing that place, which is called the Jagamohan area, and then the place where food was kept. All other places were also washed. In this way, the meeting place was washed, the entire yard, the raised sitting places, the kitchen, and every other room. Thus all places around the temple were thoroughly washed, within and without. After everything was thoroughly washed, a Vaishnava from Bengal, who was very intelligent and simple, came and poured water on the lotus feet of the Lord. That Gaudiya Vaishnava, Bengali Vaishnava, then took that water and drank it himself. Seeing that, Mahaprabhu felt a little unhappy and was outwardly angry. Because he's angry because he doesn't want to be worshipped in the temple in front of the Lord. Because he's teaching others that you don't take worship in front of the deities. Although the Lord was certainly satisfied with that Bengali Vaishnava, he became angry externally in order to establish the etiquette of religious principles. The Lord then called for Swarup Damodar and told him, "Just see the behavior of your Bengali Vaishnava. This person from Bengal has washed my feet within the temple of the Lord. Not only that, but he has drank the water himself. I now do not know what my destination is because of this offense. Indeed, your Bengali Vaishnava has greatly implicated me." So he's also indicating to us that you shouldn't wash somebody's feet or worship them in the temple in front of the Lord. At this point, Swarup Damodar caught the Gaudiya Vaishnava by the scruff of the neck and, giving him a little push, ejected him from the Gundicha Puri temple and made him stay outside. After Swarup Damodar returned within the temple, he requested Mahaprabhu to excuse that innocent person. After this incident, Mahaprabhu was very satisfied. He then asked all the devotees to sit down in 2 lines on both sides. The Lord then personally sat down in the middle and picked up all kinds of straw, grains of sand, and dirty things. While Mahaprabhu was picking up the straw and grains of sand, he said, "I shall gather everyone's collection, and I shall ask whoever's collected less than the others to pay a fine of sweet cakes and sweet rice." But actually it says pitapana. Pitapana, here it's translated as sweet rice and cakes, but it's actually some nice cakes and some drink. But, okay, sweet rice and cakes. In this way, all the quarters of the Gundicha temple were completely cleansed and cleared. All quarters were cool and spotless, like one's cleansed and pacified mind. When the water from the different rooms was finally let out through the halls, it appeared as if new rivers were rushing out to meet the waters of the ocean. Okay. Yes?
So on that topic of, paying obeisance in front of the deities and everything, it's always a little bit of it was a conundrum for me in the beginning when I came here. I made sure that in the morning, because when we first see our Srila Gurudev, the first thing in the morning, we want to pay full dandavat, but then we don't want to do in front of the deities. And so I would try to do my best to be out there in the morning when Srila Janardan Maharaj comes down, because if the first time I see him is here, I'm like, what do I do?
You have a comment on that?
Dandavat can be given to Guru as representative of Krishna in front of the deity, but not to the Vaishnava.
Okay.
Also, when we have Tulsi worship, we first sing,
Close the curtain.
Yeah, we close the curtain, but first we're singing what? Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavrinda, and then we start the worship circumambulation of Tulsi. I don't know. All right. Somebody said, well, why don't you sing Gurudev? But don't sing Gurudev when circumambulating Tulsi. So anyway, I'm going on. E mata puradwara age patajat sakala shodila taha ke varnibeghat. Well, if Govindamar's walking into the temple and the deities were open, I would always offer my obeisances to Govindamar's. I don't care if the deities are open, closed, or whatever.
Govindamar's Gurudev is Krishna himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm summarizing what Maharaj just said. Okay, now I didn't know here. I'll try to summarize. This is a long purport, and it's very beautiful explanation of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, what this all means, why there's so much discussion about cleansing the temple of Gundicha. It's you're hearing about it, but why Mahaprabhu's giving it so much importance? Aside from the fact, we want the temple to be clean. But outside the gateway of the temple, all the roads were also cleansed, and no one could tell exactly how this was done. In commenting on the cleansing of the Gundicha temple, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that Mahaprabhu, as the leader, as the supreme leader, was personally giving instructions on how one should receive Krishna within one's cleansed and pacified heart. Now that's the whole point. You're cleansing the temple, and that's like, and in the same way through bhakti. This is a bhakti yoga seminar. So through bhakti, one of the main things is to cleanse your own heart, right? Just like as the Lord is cleansing the temple. If one wants to see Krishna seated in his heart, he must first cleanse the heart, as prescribed by Mahaprabhu in his Sikshastika, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. In this age, everyone's heart is especially unclean, as confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Hridiyanta Sto Yabadrani. To wash away all dirty things accumulated within the heart, Mahaprabhu advised everyone to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. The first result will be that the heart is cleansed, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam confirms this statement, Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridiyanta Sto Yabadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the Supreme Lord, who is also the Paramatma, Supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who relishes his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So, Cheto Darpana Marjanam cleanses the mirror of the mind, cleanses the heart. If a devotee at all wants to cleanse his heart, he must chant and hear the glories of the Lord, Sri Krishna, Shrinvata Swakata Krishna. So, this is a simple process. Krishna himself will help cleanse the heart help cleanse the heart because he is already seated there. Krishna wants to continue living within the heart, and the Lord wants to give directions. But one has to keep his heart as clean as Krishna kept the Gundicha temple The devotee therefore has to cleanse his heart just as the Lord cleansed the Gundicha temple. In this way, one can be pacified and enriched in devotional service. If the heart is filled with straw, grains of sand, weeds, or dust, in other words, Anyabilasha Purna, one cannot enthrone the Lord there. The heart must be cleansed of all material motives brought about through mundane work, speculative knowledge, and mystic yoga, and so many other forms of so-called meditation. The heart must be cleansed without ulterior motive. As Srila Rupa Goswami says, Anyabilashita shunyam jnana karmadi yanavritam. In other words, there should not be any external motive. Okay? Then a material desire is explained as a desire to enjoy the material world to its fullest extent. In modern language, this is called economic development. An inordinate desire for economic development is considered to be like straws and grains of sand within the heart. If one is overly engrossed in material activity, the heart will always remain disturbed. So here it says economic development. So somebody would say, well, what's wrong with that? It's even in the Vedas. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma means some pious or religious activities. Dharma. Artha means economic development. Kama means then if you earn money, then then you can have kam, which means what is it? Dharma, artha, kama. You can have some enjoyment. And moksha. After that, then when you get old, then you can become religious and get, salvation. Be saved, brother. Or liberation. Right? So those are normally the concerns. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, Dharma projita kaitavotra paramonir matsaranam satam. It says, all these things are cheating. You're cheating yourself. Because that's not really the goal. That's not really what life is all about. Life is about, just establish a loving relationship with the Lord. So, people are looking for happiness. The highest form of happiness is love. Now, ultimately, obviously, people are considering that love exists in this world. Somebody meets somebody, and then they feel, oh, I love you, and then they're very happy with each other. But that is just, that is an attraction that will last, maybe under the right circumstances, may even last for some time. But that is just a small, glimmer of what unlimited love is like. And that unlimited love is experienced in relationship when the soul establishes a relationship with the Lord. And that is what's being talked about. So in that context, even economic development seems like, a diversion, let's say. Modernized material benefits are like the dust. Okay, so then we go on and we hear how other things we want to eliminate from our heart, like, the impersonal desire to, what is the ultimate goal of the impersonalist, can you say? What is it?
Merge with the
Merging. Oh, then merging with the Supreme. What is to become one with the Absolute? What does that mean in our?
to be sugar and not taste
What?
sugar.
What does that mean, Maharaj? You can say. What does that merging with the Absolute mean? What is the final consequence? What did they say?
Suicide.
Yes, they go like that. But what does that mean?
Nothing to say, nothing to think, nothing to conceive.
Yes, but ultimately one becomes the supreme oneself, right? So then there's no need for bhakti. There's no need for bhakti because, there's no then one becomes one with that Lord. So then how can one be a servant of the Lord's? So we say that really, that really sucks. We say that that's obnoxious. you know, to replace a loving relationship that we have with the Lord, to artificially think that one becomes the Lord, the ultimate manifestation of ego. And if you want to talk in modern terms, we can even say ultimate manifestation of male ego, to become one with the Lord. So it's really, actually kind of, to devotees, that's disgusting, you know, because it is, yes.
Gurudeva said that's spiritual suicidal.
Spiritual suicide, yes, because you lose your individual identity. We're all Jiva Swarupoy Krishna Nityadas, as Kalindi is saying. You lose your eternal identity as a servant of the Lord. That's what bhakti is all about. Bhakti means serving the Lord. And that's what we want to do. We don't want to become, we don't honor, you know, I went to an ashram and ultimately I became God. No, please. You know. Then there's other things that we want to eliminate. Here in Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, in very beautiful language, it's a long purport, I'm not reading everything, but he talks about some of the things that are compared to grain and dust and weeds that you want to take out of your heart. So one of them is mentioned here, the word jiva himsa, envy of other living entities, actually means stopping the preaching of Krishna consciousness. Can you give us some examples of jiva himsa? Maharaj here.
To harm others.
Yeah, harm others.
Prabhupada is saying that the real good for others is to help them cultivate Krishna consciousness. So to interact with them in any way that doesn't facilitate that is to harm them. Because if you're not part of the problem, you're part of the solution.
Right. So, if somebody goes to McDonald's, is that jiva himsa?
Yes, for themselves.
Yeah, because that ultimately has some violence to other living entities. What about if you eat a carrot? Is that jiva himsa?
No?
Yes.
Well, unless you offer it first.
It's jiva himsa.
It's jiva himsa. That carrot's a person.
Yeah.
You know. We won't quote any songs about that. So then what does Krishna say? How can you eliminate the idea of jiva himsa? He says, patram pushpam palam toyam, right? What does he say? He says fruit, water, flowers, leaves. That means vegetables, basically. He says if you offer those with love and devotion, he'll accept them. We can make lots of things from that, as sometimes the people have seen, because they come here to the temple. One of the things Srila Prabhupada said, he says that Vaishnavism means kitchen religion. And as part of our kitchen religion here, because some people don't take, some people are vegan, and some people are also avoiding gluten. We're trying to also have that here while the program's going on, so that people can continue with what they're used to taking, right? So, and jiva himsa means to be mean and vicious to other people, and jiva himsa also means to kill your own soul, you know, by just becoming a gross materialist. That's also jiva himsa, right? You know. So I don't have to explain what it means to become a gross materialist. People have some conception of that, right? Yeah. So then we go on here. It says jiva himsa. Then he talks about, that's one kind of thing to take out of one's heart. Then then there's other things that are considered contamination to take out of one's heart, like kutinati. Kutinati means fault finding. This person's a singer, but I'm a better singer than that person. That person is just, he sings off key. He's a horrible singer. I don't know why people appreciate him. Yeah, that's one form of fault finding, right? Like it's kind of related a little bit to envy. So that's, fault finding. Kutinati. Pratistasa. Yeah. Pratistasa means wanting some fame. I want to become famous. That's a big guru. That's called Guru Abhiman, right? I want to become famous as a star, somebody very important. Pratista. Then Shivahimsa we heard about. Nishidachara. Accepting things forbidden in the Shastra. Can you give an example of that?
Going to McDonald's.
What?
Taking intoxicants, eating meat, hurting other persons, doing anything that's forbidden.
Okay. As I explained yesterday, why are some things forbidden and why other things are recommended? Why is that? Why are we making so much distinction? Well, those things that are recommended, since this is a Bhakti Yoga retreat, those are things that are good for Bhakti, for developing devotion. And things that we don't want to do, they're bad for developing Bhakti. Now, ultimately, after the Bhakti Yoga retreat is over, people go to their own lives and they do the activities that they think are beneficial or okay with them or not okay with them. But in terms of Bhakti, since that's what we're all trying to do, we're all trying to cultivate Bhakti, we're accepting those things that are recommended and said to be very helpful for developing Bhakti. And we're avoiding those things which we consider are not beneficial to developing Bhakti. Now, that may not be the consideration of everybody in their own lives, but that is our consideration because we are practicing that yoga which is called Bhakti Yoga. And sometimes somebody comes out of this Bhakti Yoga retreat and they'll think, well, I like this, so I want to continue with this. So our next step, starting Wednesday of next week, we have what's called the Govinda Mela. And that is that you've waded into the Bhakti wading pool, but next week you can get into the deeper water. That's the Govinda Mela. So that will be from the 18th to the 22nd. And we're expecting lots of, more persons will come. Some devotees are coming from England, like Devashish. She's a very nice devotee. Yes.
So that'll be Wednesday then.
Yes.
What time are we supposed to be here by on Wednesday for that?
Well, if somebody, I suppose if somebody's here now and they say, well, I live far away, so, what time am I supposed to be back? Well, you don't have to leave. You can stay here till Wednesday. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So there's also that
But if we do
possibility.
leave, what time should we be back by?
Well, if you want to be here by Wednesday, you can come before Wednesday. And if you don't want to be back by Wednesday, say you want to be here by Tuesday, then you can come back, by Thursday, then you can come before Thursday. And if you want to be here by Friday, you can come before Friday. So it's like that.
I surrender.
Okay. Jiva Himsa, Nishidachar, finding faults in others, puja, hankering for popularity. Okay, that's puja. Kutinati. Kutinata, the word kutinata, we heard about that as fault finding. It also means duplicity, right? Here it says that. As an example of pratishtasa, one may attempt to imitate Srila Haridas Thakur by living in a solitary place. One's real desire may be for name and fame. So there was one example, one famous, very famous renunciant. Gaura Das Babaji was extremely renounced, and he lived by the side. Where would you say? Lived near the Ganga, but where the sewage emptied into the Ganga, so it smelled a little there. But that's where he lived, and then other people. Because why did he live there? Because he didn't really want to associate on a mundane level with other people. So if he lived there, he figured he wouldn't get so much association, which was correct. So somebody came by to where he lived, and they said, "How can you stand the stench here?" And then he replied, "How can you stand the stench of other people's minds?" That was his reply. So he lived there. And one time, one person who wanted to imitate him came there, and they did all the things that Gaura Das did. And then when they asked about that, they said, "This person has come here, and he's renounced just like you. He's doing just like you. What does that mean?" And then Gaura said, "Well, if a woman goes into a maternity ward, where children are born, and he says, if she imitates somebody giving birth and makes all the gestures of somebody giving birth and moves and cries and everything, just like a woman giving birth, but when she leaves that place, what will be the big distinction?" Well, she won't be carrying a baby. And why she's not carrying a baby? Because there was never any conception to begin with. Huh? So Gaura gave that example. You can imitate somebody, but if you're not carrying any conception at all, if you have that person has a conception. Gaura has a deep conception of devotion. But somebody who imitates him without having a conception, that's like a woman imitating somebody giving birth, but has no conception. So obviously the difference is, so people will come and say, "Oh, where's your baby?" And she says, "Right here." "Oh, well." But she'll have an invisible baby. So anyway, now we're coming to the end of our time. We're reading, I skipped over a part of the chapter, so we're hearing what is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's summary about why it's necessary basically to cleanse one's own heart. And that's to receive the Lord. The Lord is actually within your heart. But if we have an altar and it's not clean, then why will the Lord want to be on the altar? Why will the Lord want to be in your heart if your heart's not clean? So your first duty, if you really want to advance in bhakti yoga, is to start cleaning your own heart. Would you agree with that? Yeah. Now, do we have any other comment? Do you have a comment?
Well, I'll just say that here at the ashram, the community has made such an effort to clean the ashram and prepare the ashram to make these events possible. So you're seeing an example of that as you're here. You'll see all the roads are mowed, you see the temple is clean, freshly painted. So many arrangements have been made to receive these guests and receive the devotees who are visiting. So just as that is being extended to persons who are coming here, then they can take that as an example of how they can then invite Guru and Krishna into their heart and purify it by engaging in the practice of bhakti.
And Srila Govinda Maharaj, he said, just a temple where just has internal activities, that's not very interesting. He said he was really interested that the devotees would, be dealing with taking Krishna consciousness outside the temple to everyone. So when people come here, we're very happy with that. We're happy with all the persons that are coming here. We like that. That's really what we're all about. We want that to happen. If that doesn't happen, then we're not just interested in having a retirement home, or as they would say in modern theosophical terms, a recluse, or not the term recluse is not correct, recluse, but more a monastery, or what else?
We're not hermits.
We're not, we are not hermits. No, it's hermits, I know. joking with you. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Because now I'm checking. We come to next part of our program, starting at 9. Temple Kirtan. Okay, 9:30, the class, and 9:30 to 10, which is now 9:30. Krishna Prasadam. So breakfast. What? Joy. All right, so now we'll sing Hari Haraya, and then we'll take breakfast.